My name is Miho. I was recently invited by my recently wed stepbrother to have some dinner. Of course, I had no reason to turn it down, so I took my husband with me to their house. It had been a while since I had some homemade cooking, so I was excited when I pushed the doorbell. Welcome! My stepsister looked amazing and cheerful wearing an apron when she answered the door. Thank you for inviting me today. This is just a gesture, but… Oh, wow! Cake! Thank you. Let's have it for dessert. She accepted the bag and smiled. I hadn't seen her since the wedding, but she really is a beauty. I want you to really judge the food today.
Huh? Judge?
Yeah, I want to prove to the two of you that my cooking isn't bad. My stepbrother, who appeared behind my stepsister, was shaking his head. My husband and I looked at each other after that. After she headed back into the kitchen, my stepbrother explained.
She's seriously the worst cook I've been around, but she claims that I have some kind of problem tasting and it's all me. So I wanted you two to try tasting her food today. In other words, you dragged us into your mess?
My stepbrother whispered back at me while nodding.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But come on, Mom has to be a great cook, so maybe you're just too used to her cooking. I added to the conversation under our breaths, but…
I don't think so.
He made us pretty worried. Sorry to keep you waiting. It's fairly simple stuff, but enjoy. My stepsister eventually brought out her dishes and we all sat down. The food she brought out was clam chowder, bread, and some salad. This has to be the simplest menu ever. How could it taste bad? I looked at my husband and he was also nodding his head. It looks delicious. Really? Thank you! Eat up! We took a bite out of the bread after she asked us to eat, but both of us froze as the bread was about as hard as a diamond. Is this bread or rock shaped like bread? Oh, that bread is hand-baked! I used your own yeast. What do you think? We had to just smile and nod while reaching for the salad. The salad is just some vegetables thrown together. It has to be good. The dressing was basically just oil. We only tasted raw onion. This dressing is handmade. It's actually fairly easy to make your own dressing. I'll go for the clam chowder now. My husband was about to throw in his white towel. I was maintaining my calm somehow, but after taking a single bite of the chowder, I started coughing. What is this texture? Barium? Am I swallowing barium right now? Are you okay? Have some water! I'm sorry, can I have some salt? And maybe some store-bought dressing? Yes, my stepsister's cooking didn't have a single grain of salt in it. Maybe if I added some salt, I could finish her meal. Oh no, you can't add things to someone's meal. It's rude. You have to eat it the way it is. Come on, I have some water. I was completely stunned and she broke the silence. So, how was my cooking? Tell me the truth. She began looking more and more like a tyrant than a hero. After I was silent for a while, my husband, who was already quiet from earlier, opened his mouth.
This is seriously terrible. It's not enough to make me spit it out, but I don't want any more. See? I told you! I was right!
My stepbrother stood up in joy. Miho! My food was good, right? My stepsister looked at me for my opinion. I can't just tell her it tasted terrible. Did you stir the flour? How much salt did you add? I didn't want to say anything inflammatory, so I asked some questions, but… My cooking has reduced salt, so you can really enjoy the food for its original flavor! Something is wrong with your taste! You've probably taken too much sodium! You trying to kill your husband? For some reason, she started losing her mind. My husband finally lost his shit after this, too.
Miho's cooking is perfect! It has reduced salt while keeping an edible flavor. I feel like your cooking is terrible because you don't even follow the basic rules of cooking. This bread is so hard it could be used as a murder weapon. A murder weapon!
Great job. My husband said everything I was thinking, so… We'll be heading out now. We left most of the cooking and left the house. Hey! Finish your food! Hey! We avoided my stepsister and drove off into the distance. A few days later, my stepbrother brought some items as an apology and came by our house.
I'm sorry for dragging you two into that mess. Have this as a thank you, and sorry. Whoa, really expensive cream puffs? You really didn't have to.
He said that, but you could tell he was totally happy and headed to the fridge. So what happened afterwards? I asked my stepbrother after he stepped into her living room.
Well, she actually called a lot of her friends over to judge her food, too. They all said the same thing about how it tasted bad or had no flavor at all. She eventually caved.
Great!
You're sure people weren't going to the hospital afterwards?
My husband snorted while eating the delicious cream puffs. Hey, that's not fair. I was gonna pour us some tea.
We're brothers. It's okay. Yeah.
I glared at my husband for taking advantage of the situation. So is she okay with adding salt while we eat now? I redirected my attention to my brother-in-law after boiling some water.
Yeah. We used some of the spices from stores and used mayo and salt, too. This is all thanks to you two.
My brother-in-law was stretching with his arm behind his back.
Oh, she actually said Miho can teach her how to cook.
What? My husband, who was eating well before anyone else, started laughing.
Yeah, you should teach her. It'll be perfect.
I walked up to him and smacked him in the back.
Ow!
Apparently my cooking kills people, so no. I told my brother-in-law flat out.
Oh, you really didn't like that comment, huh?
My brother-in-law smirked and I had lost it. Of course it was your fault we ended up in that situation to begin with. These stupid cream puffs aren't enough. You need to go buy some more snacks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
My husband was excited.
You know how expensive these are? Come on, I don't have much money. Please forgive me.
No, you need to go buy some more before the coffee cools down.
My wife is pretty tough. You should just give up. Damn it.
I don't know what was true or what wasn't, but he grabbed his wallet and headed out. After watching him leave, my husband and I burst out into laughter. Oh, what did you want for dinner today?
Well, what about that one bread that isn't hard like a rock, and the clam chowder that has salt in it and doesn't have the consistency of mud? Or store-bought dressing salad?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. We smiled at each other again. After everything calms down a bit, we would call them to our house to have dinner together.
I'm a fat, smelly woman. In other words, a lost cause. But I wanted to lose weight, so I would run and walk in the area around my apartment. Then I would bike for an additional 3 laps, and it was my daily goal to go at least 4 kilometers every day. I was walking and running that night too, when I was just about to go get my bicycle, and I saw a woman being attacked by a bunch of men. There was a girl wearing a white dress and a fat guy, along with a bunch of muscular men standing on her. The skinny man was mumbling under his breath while recording the whole thing. The girl must have lost all hope and stopped fighting back. She wasn't moving at all. This is definitely something bad. I have to save her. I knew I had to help, but I knew that even if I jumped in to save her, I could see myself getting my ass kicked. I slung my hair forward and lit up my face with my phone and said, "Die. I'm going to haunt you." I ran towards them. I was wearing a black jersey, so you could only see my face lit up. There were no lights and it was cloudy, so it was darker than usual. The fat ghost effect worked perfectly. The fat guy and skinny guy ran away tripping over themselves while the muscular guy was just frozen out of fear. I took my smartphone light and shined it into his face to blind him. I jumped straight onto the man's crotch with all of my weight. I felt pretty bad for what I did, but in that moment, I just wanted to make sure he could never use that thing between his crotch again. Also, I'd always aimed for the crotch when fighting with my brothers, so... I ignored the screaming man and carried the girl with adrenaline rushing through my veins. I took her to a place where there were lights and threw my jersey on her. "You okay? You weren't hurt?" She nodded, dumbfounded by the whole thing. I saw her face for the first time and she was adorable. Seems like everything was solved. and I heard a police siren coming from afar. Someone must have called the cops after hearing that scream. Police officers began swarming the area, and the man screaming on the ground was taken to a hospital. The woman and I were taken to the police station in a car.
You realize how dangerous what you did was, right? Did you even consider what would have happened if you were assaulted?
Sorry.
You always contact the police first. It's too late if something happens.
Sorry. I was taken to a different room than the woman before being scolded. They were the ones that did the wrong stuff. Why am I being scolded? I just couldn't stop sighing.
So, that's the thing I have to tell you publicly.
Huh? I heard the officer's tone change and looked up at his face. He no longer had an angry look on his face and was grinning with a thumbs up.
I personally think you did an excellent job. The man at the hospital is already under arrest and his accomplices are being looked for, so don't worry about a thing.
Thank you. I felt so much better before leaving the room. I ran into the girl and what appeared to be her parents. Thank you so much for what you did for me. She bowed, and she seemed to be in higher spirits than before. They had all bowed at once, and I was embarrassed. No, don't worry. I didn't do anything worthy of that much praise.
No, my daughter only had scratches leaving this whole event because you found her. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
The pretty mother was tearing up with her arm wrapped around the daughter's shoulder. I had clubbed later than usual, and when I said no to them flirting with me, they dragged me to the place you found me. I was seriously beyond scared, but the fear just went somewhere after seeing your heroic actions. She was too adorable for words, to be honest with you. I mean, I can understand why they would flirt with her. I'm glad you're okay. You should go home and get some rest. I'll be going now. I was happy, seeing the cute girl as I was heading home. Oh, hang on! She grabbed me by the jersey sleeve. Can we be friends? Oh my god, that look. Of course! I had lost all sense of being a woman and was totally a guy in my reaction. I think I nod in a more positive manner than I do when I interact with my customers at my part-time job. Then, for some reason, I became great friends with her, and I had taught her how to bake, make accessories, and study. I was only a year older than her, but we were in the same college and major. The girl taught me how to efficiently lose weight, make up, and choose clothes that slimmed me down. Then, I slowly became a slightly overweight girl from a fat, obese woman. We both lived near each other's houses, so we went to each other's houses often. Her parents both work, and I hadn't gone to her house too often. But I met her brother. Just like her, he was a good-looking man. That day, when I went to her house, he poured me a cup of tea. Hello.
Oh, hello. I just put in a fresh batch of tea. Would you like some?
Thank you. The girl was running a little late, so she had told me to wait in her room. In other words, I was alone with a brother in the house. You're also a college student, right? You must be busy with your studies and work.
Oh, I'm a senior, so I don't have many lectures left. I'm starting work next year, so I've just been working part-time while spending my time at home.
Really?
Oh, I have another reason, though.
Huh? He grinned, hiding something, and drank some tea. Man, watching a good-looking man drink tea, it's great. As I was staring at him, he looked up at me.
She can be a little much. She's not bothering you, is she?
Oh no, not at all. She's an adorable sister. She's been helping me out. My heart was pounding as he answered, and he just burst out in laughter.
She wanted a sister anyway. That's why she loves you so much. She's always talking about how she's so happy that it feels like she made a new sister.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
Want to be her sister? You know, in-law?
I looked at the devilish smile on the brother's face and I could feel my face turning into bright red. What? What are you doing, brother? The girl had came home.
I was just flirting a little bit.
He answered quietly, and I could feel my face getting hotter again. What? She's my sister. Come on, sis. She grabbed my arm and dragged me upstairs. I couldn't look at the brother waving goodbye in the eyes and looked away. Afterwards, it didn't take much time before her brother and I officially started dating. I saved the girl, and now I lost weight and had a boyfriend. My life had changed. I was so glad to have squeezed every ounce of bravery that night.
I had married my wife Akiko at age 25, and it's been 5 years now. I wanted kids, so we started trying to get pregnant after about 2 years of being married, but to no avail. I suggested going to the doctors for some consultation, but she wanted to wait for it to work naturally. I agreed, and we had started working on fertile days to make sure we had the best chances. Then one day, I noticed a bag from the OBGYN. It was a prescription. I felt a little worried, so I asked a doctor I knew to tell me about the medication, and it turns out they were birth control pills. Of course you can't get pregnant on these. I wanted to know what Akiko was thinking, so I spoke to her. Hey, this was on the table. When I showed her the bag, she suddenly changed her attitude. Why? You didn't want kids? She was quiet for a while, but eventually started yelling as if everything she was holding back had been let free.
Yeah, I don't like kids, and I don't want kids. I just wanted to live with you happily. But you just wanted kids so bad that I couldn't say anything, and I just felt like I had to take these.
I tried to reach out to comfort a crying Akiko, but I was too stunned to even do that. I had no idea that that's what she was thinking. We had talked about it afterwards, and we agreed that we wouldn't try for kids. Akiko kept apologizing and saying thank you. Is this the right thing to do? I still loved Akiko, and I wanted to take good care of her. I think we were actually a fairly happy couple after this. However, when I saw families walking by, I would get jealous and watch. Maybe it was because she saw me doing this, but she started complaining to me more often. The other day, she bought me a bunch of clothes before suddenly throwing away my old clothes. If they were worn out, I would understand, but there were plenty of clothes that you could still wear. Even my ties were thrown out. I felt a little worried, so... Please, do not touch anything in my room! I told her that to make sure she understood. She responded yes, quietly. However, one day, after returning from work, my room was emptied out. All the letters from my childhood, my family photos, all the cherished memories were gone. As soon as I talked to Akiko,
It always bothered me. It was in the way, so I threw it away.
she didn't seem regretful at all. The second she said she threw it away, I could feel my body losing strength. All emotion had disappeared. Maybe I finally realized she was insane.
Come on, you said you wanted a new bookshelf, right? You can't put that kind of stuff in your room if you have all that old crap.
She was spewing excuses, but I didn't want to hear them.
I'm really sorry. Please forgive me.
I didn't say a single thing to her, and when I woke up, Akiko was on the ground begging for mercy. I still didn't talk to her and left since it was my day off. Maybe it was my fault for being so concerned with old things. Or maybe she was just crazy. I didn't really care. I didn't want to be at a house where I didn't have any of my belongings. My father was kind, but he died when I was 10 due to sickness. When he was still healthy, we all went out on a vacation and we had a group photo taken. That was thrown away too. There was one photo like that, and I got it from my brother. I would put it up in a place where I could always see it. He looked so lively in the photo. I still talk to him sometimes. While I was thinking about those things, I started tearing up, and I got a phone call from my brother. Hey, I just got a call from Akiko's dad. He was pissed off. What did you do? My brother, who was still living at home, was calling me. What are they saying? According to him, Akiko had reported that I left the house, but she seemed too distraught to answer any questions when they asked her what had happened. The father assumed that I had an affair or something of the sort and called my home to complain. Are you home right now? Can I go over? Yeah, I'll be here. I made it home where my brother and his wife lived, and I explained everything. I had to hold back some tears at some point, but my brother listened to me till the end, patiently. I don't think I can spend a single moment with her anymore. I'll explain to her parents. I told him that I wanted a divorce, and my brother stood up and said, I'll go with you! I'm going on behalf of our father! I was glad to have a strong ally. We drove to their parents' house immediately. When I pushed the intercom, he just mumbled, "Come in," and led us into the guest room. Her father stared, glaring at me as soon as I entered the room. So, you got something to say? Actually, where's Akiko? This isn't gonna go anywhere if she's not here. Can you get her here? I calmly explained, and he slammed his fists on the table. Akiko has been shut in her room without eating since yesterday. You probably just had an affair, you lousy sack of shit! Get outside! He grabbed my collar and was about to drag me out when my brother grabbed his wrist and twisted it upwards. Hey, calm down, old man. How are we gonna get to the bottom of things if she's not here? By the way, my brother has trained in numerous martial arts. He had the body of a professional boxer. Akiko's father's wrist was turning a bright purple where he was being grabbed. Okay, let go. Who the hell are you? As he let go of the now pale purple wrist, he smiled and introduced himself. Sorry, I'm his brother. Would it be possible for you to bring Miss Akiko, please? Akiko finally came into the room. She was hiding behind her mother, but the second she saw me, she hid behind her father. How old are you? All emotion for her was gone. I started talking. She's just gonna be like that, so I'll just say my piece first. We don't have kids, but that was because that's what she wanted. I wanted kids from the get-go, but she had been secretly taking birth control. She said she didn't like kids and didn't want them either.
What? You said that he wouldn't sleep with you! That was a lie?
When I saw the reaction of the mother-in-law, I immediately figured out that I must have been demonized behind my back. I think I can kind of understand why the father acted the way he did.
I don't want kids! What am I supposed to do about that? He even said it was fine! I don't want to go through labor!
Akiko was whining like a big child now, and the mother fell onto the ground. The father looked completely confused. Also, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. The reason I left. While I was gone, she started throwing away all of my stuff. Things that I treasured from when I was a kid, my family photos, all of it. I specifically asked her to not touch it, but she told me that she threw it away because it was in the way. My in-laws looked at me, mouths agape. It felt like she had denied me my past. Even now, I only feel hatred and disgust towards her. I'm sorry for this, but I really do not feel confident that I can have a healthy relationship with her. I'll be filing for a divorce. After that speech, she started spewing barely sewn together sentences.
I'm sorry! Don't leave me!
She was clinging on to me like some insane monkey. Calm down! What's gotten into you? Akiko explained after being restrained by her parents.
I wanted you to just be mine! I didn't want you to have things that weren't related to me! I figured you didn't need anything that wasn't related to me!
Everyone except Akiko was completely confused by this statement.
I figured he would forgive me since he was so nice! I promise I won't do it again! Please!
She kept crying, and her parents finally snapped out of it while talking to me. I'm sorry that she threw away all your treasures, but divorce?
Yeah, she's obviously sorry.
My brother, who had had enough, jumped into the conversation. Okay then, let me start throwing away your treasures and see if you'll forgive me if I cry and throw a tantrum. That's not what I'm saying. Bring me the most important thing you have in this house so I can destroy it in front of you. Come on! It had been a while since I'd seen my brother seriously pissed off. Akiko and the loonies were all trembling. There are things that money can't buy! You both have lived longer than us, and you don't understand that?! This is a complete waste of time. Hey, we're going now. Oh, yeah. So, divorce. My brother grabbed my arm and started leaving. I'll find you a nice lawyer next week. You don't see them at all from today, you hear? I'll help you out from start to finish. What a terrible family. My brother's hair was waving in the wind while driving. He looked like my father. Thanks, bro. Yeah, you better thank me. I'm seriously too nice to you. Even though I had lost my treasures, I had my brother. I started smiling and raised the volume in the car. I looked up at the sky and said, "Thanks, Dad. Keep an eye out for us, yeah?"
My husband's household has always had a working mother and father. They would buy things for efficiency and order for help if they couldn't handle it.
You gotta earn while you can. The people who can do chores should do chores.
The smiling mother-in-law was incredibly reliable, and I wanted to continue working, so I figured my husband who grew up with her would be okay with it. However, he had some kind of admiration towards homemade meals.
You work in the food industry, right? Are you really a pro? This meal is so bland.
I worked late and prepared a meal after I got home. He would just keep complaining about my meal. Maybe he thought that if his wife was in the food industry, he'd get amazing meals every night. I have work too. This is the best I can do. And just because I work in the food industry doesn't mean anything. I work in a lab. I held in my anger and...
This isn't how it was supposed to go.
He just completely ignores me. We're both working. I want to be able to take out orders sometimes. I think it'll be efficient and less tiring. I started getting more and more aggravated and let it slip.
What? No! I've been eating that kind of stuff since I was a kid, so I don't want to eat that anymore.
Of course he doesn't think about me at all and just turns it down. I'm gonna go to sleep because I'm tired and I have to wake up early tomorrow. I'll wash the dishes tomorrow morning.
Yep, take care of it.
Why won't you say, "Hey, I'll take care of the dishes"? I finished brushing my teeth and got into bed alone. I was crying a little bit. Then, one morning on a day off, I had a fever in the hundreds and my joints were on fire. My sense of balance was non-existent. My husband was off too, but he wasn't to be relied on, so I had to call my mother-in-law who lived nearby. I'm sorry, I have a fever and I can't really muster up the energy to go shopping.
What? I'll go by as soon as I finish work. You hang in there.
She's working today too, huh? I feel bad. She's so busy. I was thinking about it while going back to bed, where I stumbled into my husband, his hair a mess.
Huh? What's wrong?
I have a fever, 102. I thought maybe he would at least be worried, even if he couldn't take care of me. But this is what he said.
Huh? What about breakfast? What are we gonna do?
I had no energy left to argue. I was in a haze making rice and heating up some of the leftovers. I made a small fresh tofu dish as well. I feel like he's gonna complain about my meals, but this is all I can do for now. Just as I was about to say something to my husband, my mother-in-law called. I wasn't sure what she wanted to talk about, so I answered the phone. Hello?
Hey, how are you doing? I was worried, so I asked someone else to cover for me. I'm at the entrance. Can I come in? I'm sure you're too exhausted to come to the door.
I was choked up from her kindness, but I took a deep breath and said, "Thank you. Can you hang on a moment? Stay on the line with me."
Sure, don't push yourself.
I kept her on the line on purpose and called my husband to the dining table. He looked at the dining table and laughed so hard, he started to cramp.
Wow, you literally just bought some of this and threw it on a plate. I guess if you include the tofu, it's 3 dishes total.
He thinks that the pre-made dishes are bought.
What a terrible breakfast. And who eats this crap for breakfast? Your miso soup is super repetitive too.
I took a seat while I watched my husband taking a seat and raised my phone up. Sorry to keep you waiting. Come on in. I heard the front door open and my mother-in-law showed up. I'd never seen my mother-in-law having such a stern look on her face.
Huh? Mom?
My husband, who was clearly startled, was trying to say something when my mother-in-law dropped the bomb on him.
You're making your wife, who has a damn fever, cook for you? And to add to it, you're complaining about it. Have you lost your damn mind? You're a grown-ass man. Cook for your dearly beloved.
Look at the teacher go. She's got the lecturing thing down to a T. I was already satisfied at this point, but hell hath no fury like a mother-in-law left pissed off.
I do not remember raising such a piece of shit trash human. You think your wife is your slave? Newsflash, she's not.
I'm just joking around. You don't have to get so mad.
My husband mumbled something under his breath, but she completely ignored him and...
The audacity to complain about someone who's cooking this much for you regularly!
She left no room for escape. She was going to squash him right here, right now. I let out a massive sigh.
You better think your values, because if you think she's going to stay around you and cook for you with no return, just because she's your wife, you're completely and utterly mistaken.
Mom... I was about to cry in front of my mom when my husband let out this little comment.
A celebrity makes way more than this lady does at the same age.
What? I have never had my tears dry up so fast. I was at a loss for words. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, gave it a second before dropping yet another tactical missile on his head.
You weren't even first string on the local softball team and you want to be treated like a professional MLB player? Huh? If you want to be like that, maybe you should try throwing a ball straight first.
He shuffled in the food quietly and then...
Thanks for the food.
Left quietly. A few minutes later, he brought some jelly, Gatorade, and ice cream. He must have gone to the convenience store.
Here, have this. Rest. I'm sorry.
I grabbed the bag and hugged it tightly. Thank you.
Also, I'll make you some rice soup, okay?
You can cook? My husband quietly nodded his head while I stood there shocked.
My mom taught me so that I could take care of the person who I lived with.
When I turned around to look at my mother-in-law, she looked at him like the devil himself and was glaring at my husband.
You better do this on your own without my intervention.
It's so nice, though. Thank you. Maybe all the adrenaline was fading. I was falling to the ground when my mother-in-law held me up.
You're okay. Take a rest now. You really did great. Thank you so much.
My mother-in-law left me with those words before I let gravity take over my eyelids.
You carry her to her bed. You better work hard to make up for all the terrible things you've done to her.
I could hear my mother-in-law chewing out my husband, even in my fading consciousness. I had a lot of sorrow, but I'm so glad I got married. I never thought I'd have such an amazing mother-in-law. The next morning, my fever had gone quite down a bit. My husband is normally still asleep next to me, but today, he was nowhere to be found. Maybe he slept somewhere else so he wouldn't catch something from me? When I slowly got up to head to the kitchen as usual, I smelled something nice. Oh, rice soup?
Oh, you're up! How's your fever?
My husband was surprised and walked with the ladle still in his hands. Yeah, I think it's gone away now. You made this? I pointed down at the pot and he nodded his head at me.
You fell asleep after our argument, so I figured I'd cook for you today.
I couldn't help but giggle at the odd look my husband had on his face. Thank you, I'll have some.
Okay, I'll bring it to you. You just take a seat and wait.
I gripped the spoon, the morning light spilling into the dining room. My husband was looking at me with eyes full of worry.
Yeah?
This is the best rice soup I've eaten in my life. It had been so long since I'd smiled this honestly. It's okay now. We'll be able to fix it. My name is Maho. I'm a 30-year-old single woman who lives with her mom at home. My mother is in her 60s and had to live with her father's debt, but she had to quit her part-time job because of her age. And now I have to deal with all of the finances.
Maho, is dinner ready yet?
I just came home. Hang on a second. Ever since my mother quit her job, she wouldn't work anymore because she was going through menopause and wouldn't even help out around the house. If anything, she would hang out around the living to do nothing. She would watch TV, and when she got bored, she'd take a nap and only wake up to eat. The only reason that she was able to do that was because I would give her $2K monthly. How did this happen?
I'm going to live with her,
So can you leave since you're just a leech anyway?
The reason I was sitting here was because my brother and his wife suddenly showed up. What? It was my fault for arguing about the fact that he called me a leech. I couldn't argue back against my mom and the two. I ended up just taking a seat. They said some terrible things to me while they took the sofa.
You don't get married and you just eat our food.
Imagine living with your mother at age 30.
You're just useless and leech off your parents. The only reason I didn't live alone after graduating from tech school was because my father wouldn't let me leave. My mother somehow joined in on trying to chase me out, so I just shut up and listened. The brother couple lived far off and only occasionally swung by to say hello. They came here today when they weren't even off because they wanted to chase me off. How did I become the leech? I kind of figured how that would happen since I knew the couple. They lived far from the city, but their household was in a world of pain for money. My father would frequently have to lend them money while he was still alive. Most wives don't want to live with their mother-in-laws. Why does she want to live here? Then it was made obvious very quickly. One is 5 and the other is 2 now.
Well, I want to see them.
You can almost see them every day. Only if Miss Maho leaves, though. They were talking about the best course of action, all while eating food that my mother ordered me to prepare. Yes, they have 2 kids. They're being taken care of right now, but... Where? They must want the house because if they live here, they won't need to pay for rent and someone will look after the kids for free. My mother seems pleasant, so they must think that about her. Honestly, she's just easily fooled. She's been scammed twice already. My father's loans also shouldn't be her problem, but it was because she had been the guarantor for a friend. After her father died, I ended up having to take care of it and her life. My mother has no idea how much I spend taking care of her and taking care of the house. She doesn't do anything around the house and doesn't work either. I'm sure they don't know about that. So that's why my brother...
The eldest son should look after his mother.
He was bragging about and talking about his grand proposal of looking after his mom. My mom, of course, believed him. Every time he says crap like this, he's got some kind of scheme. When will she learn? I thought that was a nice thing to stick around and help out a mom who does nothing but be a couch potato. I know that I was a child that was just being used for money, but she wasn't the worst, so I wanted to help her. Whatever. If they don't want me here, I guess I'll leave. I'm just eating your food anyway. The 3 of them called me a leech, so let's see how they do without my pay, which is almost 3 times that of my brother's. It was all fast after that. I had found a mansion near my work and left the house. I figured I would treat myself, so I found a nice 1 LDK near the station and blew off some steam. Now it's time for me, the leech and food stealer, to take revenge. That too, please. First, I asked the movers to move all the electronics and furniture that I paid for with my own money before leaving the house. I moved them right in front of their eyes, so of course they freaked out. Hey, stop you thief! What are you talking about, silly? I'm only moving things that I bought with my own money.
Give us back the Roomba!
I told you, I bought that! You always put crap on the floor, so I feel bad for the Roomba. Between the fridge, the microwave, TV, the washing machine, and Dyson and Roomba, there was almost nothing left in the house. The things that were multiples of, I simply had some people buy it and take it away. Oh, did I mention I sold my car that we were both using?
Hey, don't take that!
Give the car and electronics back!
Oh my gosh, I can't give it back, it's mine! I'm moving, so I'm taking it with me. I was only lending it to you. The car was probably the worst part to them. They had apparently already sold their own car since they were going to move over here. The 3 know that it would be impossible to live here without owning a car.
We can't go anywhere!
There's no furniture or electronics, what the hell? I don't know, I'm sure Mommy will take care of you. I usually just use the company car when I need to and take the train to work, so I didn't need my car, but I'm sure it's okay. Honestly, I felt so amazing with how free I was. My mother had cat allergies, so I was now able to invite a new cat into my family. Hey, you're such a cutie. You hungry? I'll go get you some food, okay? I had more expendable income as well and didn't have to pay off my mother's loan, so I could save more. The 3 of them started asking for help the month after I started living on my own. They actually lasted a while. I figured they would have come back after about a week. However, by the time they contacted me for help, it was already too late for a lot of things. First off, they couldn't pay the loans that my mother had. The three were looking to use my car, so they couldn't get around. Neither the wife or my mom would look after the house, so the house became a mess after two kids made quick work of it. This is the worst part. My brother apparently quit his old job because he was moving. He must have thought that he could live off of Dad's inheritance. He didn't have any inheritance. I don't know what got into him. Oh, these two also said some strange things when my father passed. At the funeral, they of course
Give me the inheritance!
only ever talked about the inheritance. When explained that he hadn't left behind any money, he actually just left behind loans, they just left quietly. I'm glad that they left without a fuss, but the fact that they stole all the grievance money was pretty much a wrap for me. They had kept their distance from my family for a while after that, but when they came back to the house over the weekend, they expected a rundown house because of loans, but they found a nice house instead. Because they noticed that there was a lot of furniture and new electronics, they must have had inheritance and not told us, is what they must have thought. In truth, my mother didn't think about anything, so she basically just showed up and did nothing for the entire funeral. I was the one that took care of everything and arranged everything for the funeral proceedings. Although he only left behind loans, my mother was responsible for them. So good luck, brother. You were the one that said the elders should look after the mom, right? I pretty much ignored the request of them to come home and pay money. My sister-in-law, who was supporting them with a part-time job, also ended up quitting. She had no way to get to work because there were no buses or trains. Honestly, between a high school that accepted the lowest of lows and a guy who wouldn't stop changing careers, or the girl who went to a tech school, got a national certification and found employment at an American company, and kept getting promoted, wouldn't be living the same standard of living. Every time my brother would ask my father for money, I was the one that ended up funding it. I'm sure they don't know that either. My mother had already forgotten that she called me a parasite and food stealer and was begging for help. I didn't listen. I was saving a little bit for my mom after she was going to get old, but I figured after a while, I would use that money as a down payment for a house. You need to have financial independence and savings. I am okay living alone with my cat. I changed my phone and contact information, so I don't know what's going on with them. If there's any regret, it's that I feel bad for the two kids I left behind.
My name is Naoya. I'm a college student. I'm a fairly round man. I was always fairly popular at school. When I cleaned, I would offer up my strength, and they would all rely on me. Swing, Naoya! I got this! In college, I joined the baseball team and was the fourth batter. Strike out! Change! But I always either hit a home run or struck out, and could never really secure a solid record.
Hey, a piggy that doesn't hit anything is just a piggy.
Sorry. I'll swing away for you next time. Ooh, look at the two lovebirds! The girl calling me a pig was the manager and my girlfriend, Ayumi. I fell for her and flirted with her as much as I could. It's been 2 years since we started dating. In college, we were Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Pork.
If you don't hit this next one and make it a home run, I'm gonna make you a pig roast.
No, can you at least keep me alive as a pig? Ha ha! Get it, you two? I enjoyed this teasing back and forth. It was the perfect level of fun with some teasing. We graduated college and started living together. We even got married. Erica, you look a lot like your mother. I'm so glad.
Yeah, if she looked like you, I'd feel so bad. Don't give her snacks without telling me.
Yeah, we only need one piggy in the house.
No, you mean one head, not one piggy.
I was blessed with a child and had a wonderful family. However, when my little Erica was about to start talking,
Piggy, I have your food!
yeah, hamburgers today, huh?
Where's Erica's food?
It's on the table, right?
I don't think this kind of language is good for Erica. Even after Erica was in elementary school,
Hang on, you're fat and going to the school observation days.
it's my daughter's big day.
What are you gonna do if the kids make fun of her for having a pig for a father?
Daddy, you're not coming?
Ayumi was even more aggressive than before. I knew this wasn't the sort of thing you should be saying in front of your daughter. We let Erica stay at our parents' place for a night, and both went to a class reunion when
I really don't see him as a husband. He's just a pig that carries me money. And even that money is so little, it sucks.
I could hear her talking shit from a little ways away. She must be talking that loud intentionally to piss me off. Hey man, that's a little too far, don't you think? This is one of my old teammates from baseball. She's probably just drunk. We get along at home. I mean, okay, just talk to me if you need any help. I held back the tears and started chugging beers. I don't know if this is right. The next morning, Ayumi was out because she was hungover. I went to pick up Erica alone.
Hey, did you have fun yesterday? You met your friends, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You need to get along with your friends too, okay? I smiled and patted Erica on the head when...
Daddy, I love you so much.
Her words caught me off guard, and all of my emotions came spilling out. Daddy loves you too! I collapsed and hugged her tightly. She must have picked up on something from all of our interactions. I want Erica to grow up into a kind girl. I mustered up the courage to get a divorce. Ayumi was still sound asleep in bed after I got home. I called the baseball friend from yesterday. Hey, thanks for yesterday. I can't deal with Ayumi anymore. I'm done. Makes sense to me. I was jealous of how well you two got along in college, so I wish this ended better, but leave it to me. He majored in law and is currently an active lawyer. He told me he wishes he could have helped in a different way, but gave me advice. In order to win Erica's custody, I needed to gather evidence. I would record all of the terrible things that Ayumi would tell me. I would also get my old teammates to record things for me at small get-togethers about once a month.
It's not like you can say anything if I do decide to cheat.
Ayumi, you're going too far.
Who cares? It's the truth.
I would have different people come every time to get more and more witnesses. Half a year later, while Ayumi was staying over at a friend's house, I can't do this anymore. I finally told her about my decision. I'm still her father. I don't want her to hear her own mother constantly berating her father. Ayumi looked at me completely surprised.
What are you talking about, berating? We've been like this since we were dating. It's seriously gross how a pig is arguing back at me.
I pulled out my phone and played back all of the terrible things that she was calling me. I've recorded almost everything you've called me in the past half year.
What? Ew, gross.
This is just a copy, by the way. There's no point in deleting it. I think most people will agree it's well beyond teasing and jokes at this point.
What? Those are all just teases, gestures of love. You're such a gross asshole pretending to be a victim.
Ayumi was trembling, but her words kept going. That doesn't work anymore. I feel bad for being okay with it too. But let's get a divorce. Please. Ayumi must have thought I was joking.
I wouldn't mind dumping you. Look at you, all tough and big.
She was picking fights left and right. Honestly, I was growing more distant by the second. As I pulled out the divorce papers, she basically snatched them out of my hand and wrote her name in a jolly fashion. She even signed it, and then...
Here you go. What do you think? I really signed it. You better apologize now.
She's completely changed into someone who doesn't want to listen to anything I have to say. Thanks. Goodbye.
Huh?
I took the signed divorce papers and was about to leave after grabbing my bag when...
Hey, you're joking, right? Why aren't you saying anything?
I said what I had to. I'm going to go talk to your parents too. I went to her parents' house and explained everything that had happened, along with the recordings. They both agreed that this was way too bad and agreed with my divorce. Afterwards, I started living apart before I actually filed for divorce. I was worried if I would get custody of Erica, but while I was away, she didn't contact me once to check on Erica. That's why I was able to make a long-standing history of us living together. And in several months, I received custody of Erica before officially divorcing her. Before I was going to get a divorce, I figured I would call to report everything, but...
I was waiting for you to come crying for help. I completely forgot about Erica. I was always the most important. Erica stole you from me.
She said something that no mother should ever say. I thought that maybe a divorce was too much, but apparently it was the right choice. Maybe I took too long to do it. I officially got custody and we continued life together. Sorry, Erica. You're not too sad about just living with Daddy, are you?
No, I'm okay. Mommy was always a little scary.
If you do something bad, Daddy is going to be scary too.
What? And I'm gonna be a good girl forever.
I had gotten along with her parents since I was in college, so I would still send them photos of Erica. According to them, Ayumi still talks shit about me, but they hate all of it. We haven't spoken to each other like regular humans once while being together. There were moments when it was nice because she would spur me on in baseball. I do think that was just cute teasing. However, there are limits, and even more so between family members. Every time she opened her mouth, she would say something terrible. I couldn't be happy with someone like that. Manners even amongst friends. I hope to teach Erica about that when she gets a little older.
Oh, hey, Konami's mom! Shoot. 2 days ago, when I was out with my kindergarten-age daughter, I met her classmate, Kenta, and his mother. Kenta never hurt anyone directly. He was always destroying property and messing with my daughter. He was simply put, a troublemaker. However, Kenta's mother... Aw, you did it again! Sorry! Would never actually punish him for it. He was a new kid at the kindergarten, and when he peed himself, he would steal random kids' underwear and clothes and take it home without saying anything. Kenta's mother would make him wear the clothes to the kindergarten, and that's how we found out. This kind of thing happened regularly. The mothers who were victims in all this kept warning her, but she wouldn't listen. I'm sorry. I always mess up. She would cry and get away with it every time. We had the teacher take care of her kids' clothes, but the teacher, she would just place it back to where it was originally, and nothing had changed. My daughter doesn't even have clothes there anymore, but other kids still have their clothes stolen by Kenta. It was a problem since she had no clothes to change into, but right now, my problem was with her bentos. Kenta had an obsession with food. Every day, someone would have the food stolen. My daughter had experienced this once as well. We asked the teacher to scold him, but then the teacher, I'll share my bento then, dropped that bomb on us. My jaw just dropped. That's not the answer! I screamed inside my head, and I had to run into the two at the supermarket. Honestly, I was annoyed more than anything, but I thought I'd say hello and walk by. Hey, what a coincidence! She started looking at my shopping cart. Of course, my relatives were coming by, and today had to be the day that I ran into her. Ah, you're having a party? Yeah. I was frozen in place when Kenta said, Konami's mom is great at cooking, so you're gonna cook a lot, right? Lucky! To my daughter. You got something too, Konami? Can you show me? My daughter must have understood instinctively that she was a threat. She hid her bag. Kenta's mother has a bad habit about barging in and stealing things. She always likes to find reasons to show up. You should be careful. I had heard news like this from my friends, so I was on high alert. In my mind, the only reason that kid knows anything about my cooking is because he accidentally ate my daughter's lunch thinking it was his. Additionally, the thing I'm buying my daughter is a new lunchbox that I had to buy for her because your son accidentally stepped on it at school. I was screaming things inside my head and wanted to smack both of them in the head, but... Can I go? I'm in a hurry. I left. Goodbye. I didn't turn back. Then, the first night of the holidays, we had called my parents, my husband's parents, and both of our grandparents to have a nice little get-together. My daughter had fallen asleep, and people had gotten drunk enough to hear about Kenta's mother and her son. My father and father-in-law had lost it.
Who's the parent? I'll tell them what's what! Count me in too!
They were up in arms. Only the grandfather-in-law was calm and said,
She's a strange lady.
quietly under his breath. Then,
Who is it? It's so late.
hello! I invited myself! Kenta and his mother were on the intercom screen. You have good food, right? Share some! I'm starving! I turned up the volume on the intercom and let everyone hear our conversation. I didn't invite you. I was pushing her away, but... My son was so excited! He said he wanted to play with Konami! She wasn't listening to a word I had to say. I was holding in anger when... My daughter is already asleep. I have guests. Please leave. But... Oh! Introduce me to them! I have to say hello! She wasn't having it. Why is that your answer? I was about to blow a blood vessel. Kenta was kicking the door, screaming, Open! Open up! He was starting to get louder and louder. My father and father-in-law were both frozen by this. They must have been very surprised. What was that whole thing about earlier? Then, my grandfather-in-law slowly came up into the intercom and...
Let me see the mic real quick.
He was calm as usual. And then...
Oh, hey! You can't come by this late at night! It's a bother, don't you know? Please go home. Huh? Sorry, I have a hard time hearing. What? Are you a foreigner?
He was fighting back. He had no problem hearing. He just pretended he couldn't hear to Kenta's mother. After a little while,
Hang on 1 second.
he left us before heading to the entrance. He opened the door, and the first thing out of his mouth,
Can you not hear that I'm saying go home?
he yelled that from the top of his lungs with an expression I had never seen before. As Kenta came running in when the door was cracked open, he snagged him and said,
You're the little bastard messing with my granddaughter, huh? I'm coming for you!
and then he turned to the mother.
What the hell do you think you're doing? Coming over to someone's house at this hour? I want to see your parents. Have them come over right now.
My grandfather-in-law is 80 and runs a kendo gym. He's got the voice of titans. He had a look on his face I had seriously never seen on a human being before. Kenta's mother had apparently never seen that expression before either, and dragged Kenta out of the house and ran away. My husband and the rest of the men just quietly listened as my grandfather-in-law mumbled,
You guys, you can't just be all talk.
They were a little sad. I felt a little better, but I was a little worried about what would happen when I saw her again.
The police showed up at my parents' house on charges I had no idea about.
She is suspected of assault and battery.
Is what the officer was saying.
Wait, what? It had been over 10 years since I got married and left the house. I divorced my first husband in about a year. A few years later, I was remarried and lived one prefecture over. The police apparently showed up at my parents' house because the old house I lived in was empty.
Where's your daughter?
My mom, brother, his wife, and my niece were all confused. My mom said that I was married and lived in a prefecture nearby, and the police contacted local police in my area to come to my door. We had come home around the same time that the police had shown up at our door, then suddenly asked me to go to the station with them, so I was surprised. I have no idea what's going on. What are you talking about?
Actually,
This is what he explained. I had divorced my husband because he cheated, but the woman he cheated with was hit in the head by someone, and she apparently saw me, running away, so the police showed up at my house. When did that happen?
it's suspected to have occurred around 4 p.m.
My husband and I looked at each other.
We were watching soccer in Hiroshima at the time.
Exactly. It was definitely the woman lying through her teeth.
Do you have any proof of that?
My husband was slightly irritated from the police officer's attitude.
It was a pretty good seat, so I'm pretty sure we were broadcast on live TV. Yeah, but that's not definite proof.
Wow, what an ass. I was starting to get irritated as well, so I glared at the fat middle-aged officer. My husband wasn't the only one. I had many friends around too, and I'm sure they'll be happy to corroborate my story.
But they're your friends, so they will lie to cover for you.
You could tell he was trying to force me to go without forcing me to go. You don't trust my husband or my friends?
That's not what I'm saying. I just want to talk to you at the station. If you can't come, I'm going to take this as destruction of evidence or evading the police.
He grinned at me, almost as if to intentionally rub me the wrong way. He thinks he knows that I'm the one that did it. I was so mad that I felt like punching him in the face, but then someone tapped me on the shoulder. When I turned around, I saw my uncle who lived in our neighborhood. Apparently, my husband had gone to ask for help.
Oh, come on. She doesn't need to go, right? It's not like you have a warrant or anything. You can't force her to go.
He kept his hand on my shoulder and smiled at the officer. The officer briefly contorted his face before smiling again, and once again being passive-aggressive.
Yeah, of course it's not being forced. But this is definitely the suspect. I think it's just easier for everyone if she comes with us. I see. I think I understand.
My uncle smiled back and crossed his arms.
Police Duties Execution Act, Chapter 2, Article 3. Pardon?
The police officer was suddenly confused.
You do not need to comply with an officer who is forcing you to be detained or otherwise taken against your will. You may also decline any form of questioning. If you're going to break this, I will definitely have to call you out for breaking the law.
The officer was just spewing nonsense after my uncle had just served him straight. My husband and I were both just staring quietly at him.
Who are you? You talk like you're a lawyer or something! I'm an officer of the law!
The officer finally revealed his true self and was ready to throw down with fists brought up.
Ah, you're not a complete moron. You're right. I am a lawyer.
My uncle had flipped his sleeve and shown that he had the badge of a lawyer.
She says she has an alibi. How about you go confirm the validity of that first? If you can't prove the alibi, then you need a warrant. Also... Okay, fine. Sorry. Bye.
He seemed to have given up and scurried away. My husband and I let out a sigh at the same time. Thank you so much! I bowed my head deeply while he patted me on the shoulder.
I was actually about to leave. Talk about great timing. Thank you for always being nice to my kid, too.
My uncle winked at my husband and gave a thumbs up.
I had heard from my wife where you lived. I'm sorry for disturbing you. You really saved us.
My husband also bowed deeply. My uncle laughed and said it was fine.
If you're not guilty, you have nothing to hide. If someone tries to blame you for something again, you can come to me.
My uncle's kind words struck deeply.
All right, I gotta go somewhere. See you later.
We bowed deeply at my uncle walking away.
Your uncle's pretty young, huh?
My husband mumbled after he was no longer visible. I mean, yeah, he's relatively close to me in age, but why?
Oh, nothing.
He looked a little upset and looked away. What, are you jealous of my cool uncle? He looked away again after I made him look at me. Relax, he's married and has 3 daughters. I was holding in my laughter before patting him on the back.
Really?
Really?
I can trust you?
Oh, come on, you're acting like a girl right now. I hugged my husband tightly. I grabbed his hand and we went home together. The next day, we were able to confirm our alibi from all parties involved, and it was confirmed that the woman was lying. Apparently, she had asked a friend to hit her in the head and called the police to file a false report. She was charged for making a false statement. Serves her right. She did this because my ex-husband had no intention of marrying her. She was also being pestered by my ex-husband's parents and basically just wanted someone to pay. According to the police, she had become furious after hearing I was remarried and flipped the desk when she was being questioned. I had some bad memories, but I felt well supported by those around me, and maybe it was a good experience. However, there was one thing that changed after this.
You're not going to go see him, right? Right?
Oh, come on, he's a busy man. He barely even shows up to family gatherings.
Okay, I trust you.
Trust me. He had started thinking more and more about my uncle, but I was not like my unfaithful ex.
Thanks for watching! Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Bye!